Whoa, there we go. Welcome.
We're here.
Ah, yeah. Welcome to Wrestling Uncensored. I'm Dave Simon. He's Johnny North.
It's me.
We're here on TSN 690 every Saturday night talking professional wrestling. We're online on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/ringsidereport.net. youtube.com/ringsidereport. DOTNET. You can go there right now. You can subscribe if you haven't already. You can like the video. You can watch Wrestling Uncensored, usually up every Saturday on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/ringsidereport.net. More info for that on our website, wrestlinguncensored.net or ringsidereport.net.
Over 400 episodes now.
Over 400 episodes of what, John?
Just
Wrestling Uncensored?
Alone.
Yeah, this is 444, I think. We're almost at 450.
Quite a good run.
Quite a run we're on. Quite a run the WWE is on as well. We are on the road to Stomping Grounds as the WWE Super Showdown taking place Friday afternoon from Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. Super Showdown is in the books, and what a showdown it was. We're going to recap the Super Showdown over the next hour and try to figure out what the WWE is going to be doing in just a couple of weeks' time, June 23rd, in the Tacoma Dome in Tacoma, Washington. 2 weeks of Raw and SmackDown to build this thing before it hits you June 23rd, the next pay-per-view from the WWE, which was mostly booked at Super Showdown.
I enjoyed Super Showdown for the most part. I mean, there was some moments where it was kind of lacking, but I thought for the most part, it was very entertaining. And I enjoyed the spectacle of it all, with it being a WWE show with pyro, which we never really see anymore. So that was highly enjoyable.
Uh-huh. So you like the fireworks.
I love the grand entrances that we got to see.
The entrances were cool. Triple H came out on like a custom motorcycle, tricycle deal.
It's the same one he had when he wrestled Ronda.
Was it the same one?
Exact same one, yeah.
Oh, so they just recycled that gimmick.
I think the whole setup was recycled from WrestleMania.
Cool. So we knew that the entrances were going to be good going in. We knew that they would spend a lot of money on fireworks. What did you think about the actual in-ring product of the show?
Not the greatest, far from it, but I thought some matches were pretty good. I thought Finn and Andrade was some very good wrestling.
It was all right. The crowd was not into it whatsoever.
The crowd enjoyed Triple H and Randy Orton the most, apparently, which was kind of odd.
They liked Goldberg and Undertaker.
Yep, they did. They also
what they liked the most was their guy Mansoor winning the 50-man battle royal. That was the big deal. Mansoor, the first ever WWE Saudi Arabian talent. He was signed a year ago when they were looking to find some Saudi Arabians to get trained at their developmental system and become wrestlers. Mansoor is the guy they signed. He's been working. He's been in NXT a little bit, doing job matches. He was rumored to win this 50-man battle royal just before, during the day. And then leading into it, you kind of figured. And then when you saw him in this thing, he was one of the most unrecognizable characters in this thing. We could pretty much name everybody, all 50 men in this battle royal, but Mansoor is kind of this guy. You're like, who is Mansoor? Oh, he's that Saudi Arabian guy that's going to win this thing. And then he did. There was nothing on the line. The people went nuts. Like, they loved it in Jeddah. They really went crazy. There were children crying. There were grown men, like, just going nuts, like, yeah, like, really hyped. It was quite a scene. The pop was really loud. They were really happy that their guy won. And he seemed quite touched by the whole thing. How much this does for me sitting at home? Not much at all. But it was, nice to see this guy get his moment. It may be his only moment in pro wrestling. Who knows? He's 23 years of age. maybe he'll be something one day, but like he's not today, but he won a 50-man battle royal on a big show that I'm supposed to care about. So like it works, but it doesn't.
Well, I thought the match was fun. It was fun just seeing all those guys in there, 50 men at one point in time. It was very messy at some points, but it was interesting to see something like that where you don't usually get to see that on a usual WWE show. I thought for the most part, those guys made the most of their opportunities.
Like Mansoor?
I thought Mansoor did. I thought they made the most out of Titus, the whole like faking out the whole slide thing again. And he also had some good moments too. I think he eliminated, I want to say AOP. He eliminated some great tag team or something.
The War Raiders. Didn't he eliminate them? Or the
Right.
Viking Raiders or whatever they're called?
Right. They gave him,
AOP showed up. Where have they been?
AOP came back. They had that whole moment with AOP, Heavy Machinery, and the Viking Raiders.
Viking Raiders. That was a cool moment for the Battle Royal.
And you had Rowan, who was there, but Daniel Bryan wasn't, who eliminated the Heavy Machinery, who he's feuding with.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they build in the Battle Royal some feuds going forward.
You did have... My favorite moment of the Battle Royal was when Otis did his worm.
The Caterpillar.
The caterpillar, whatever, and then he stood in the ring and went, "Oh yeah!" And then Rowan kind of hit him mid, "Oh yeah." That was great. I like the "Oh yeah." I like the timing of the hit. Tremendous. I like Otis. I'm a big Otis fan. I think he's really good. He's big. He seems like he can wrestle. He's got an amateur background, like he's a legit amateur wrestler. He's got charisma. They could do something with Otis.
Well, we complain the tag teams aren't doing much, but I felt in that match you saw the most of the tag teams.
Where were the tag team champions? Were they in that match?
They were in that match. They got eliminated.
Unceremoniously.
Cesaro had some great moments, too. I thought him and Sin Cara, some great exchanges. He was in there for quite a bit, too. He eliminated quite a few guys, Cesaro.
Yeah, it came down to Cesaro. He was part of the final 6 of that match, right? It was Cesaro, Ricochet, Ali, Mansoor, Elias, and Samoa Joe.
And he eliminated Ricochet and Ali at the same time, Cesaro.
Yeah.
Mansoor eliminated him, but he won, so it's a pretty good push for Cesaro. He got an entrance, unlike most people.
Good push for Cesaro. It's a good push for Mansoor.
Well, it's a great push for him.
Does anything come of this Mansoor victory? I'm going to say no.
Possibly. You never know. I mean, they gave him something, right? So now it's up to him to make the most of it. Train hard in NXT, and they're going to give him something in NXT, I imagine, because he has some momentum. Will he make the most of it? I don't know.
I don't think they're going to do much with Mansoor after this Battle Royal. I don't think this was much past winning in your home country.
Well, they are going to have future shows, though, right? They're going to have like 2 pay-per-views like this a year. So going forward, he's the top guy. So you got to use him in some capacity.
Do you?
Well, unless you replace him. They had 3 other guys. Where do they go to?
They had 3 other guys?
There was like 4 of them, if I'm not mistaken.
They
last
signed
time.
4 Saudi Arabia guys?
They had 4 prospects at that Greatest Rumble.
I thought it was just Mansoor that got signed, though, wasn't it?
That's it. I guess they only have 1 then.
Yeah, so he'll be, maybe they'll do something with him in NXT, but I don't think there's going to be anything past that for now.
I could see him give him another match in November.
Yeah, okay, sure.
So this is his thing. That's kind of cool.
He's a Saudi Arabia guy.
On the big shows. It's all right.
Awesome. So, yeah. So he wins the Battle Royal with absolutely nothing on the line. It was a good moment for the home crowd. And then you had Goldberg and The Undertaker.
The main event.
And I'm surprised this only went about 10 minutes.
To me, that went longer than I expected, but it's okay. I enjoyed it.
But it felt like a longer match than just 10 minutes, didn't it?
Well, there was a lot of like stalling, but I think because Goldberg was hurt.
Yeah. So this match was a mess. Like Goldberg came out bleeding from his forehead already for some reason.
It's not the first time.
Super sweaty.
Right.
And like looking out of breath before the match even started.
It's hot.
It was very hot. It was like 100 degrees Fahrenheit, which we asked Google, and Google told us was about 38 degrees Celsius. So
it's hot. Sweaty. They kept saying on commentary all the time.
Yeah, very sweaty. So Goldberg and Undertaker kind of go through a little bit of a match. Goldberg hits Taker with a couple spears to start off, and you thought, oh, maybe it's over. But it wasn't.
Yeah. Squash, yeah.
It wasn't over. They kept wrestling. And, they wrestle for a while. It's not very good. Goldberg goes to spear Undertaker in the corner. Taker moves out of the way. Goldberg goes right into the ring post, goes all the way, and busts his head open and is now bleeding profusely. Like, he gets cut on his head legitimately, and there is blood pouring out of his head.
Crimson Mask.
Yeah. Not supposed to happen. It gets uglier from there. Goldberg tries to jackhammer the Undertaker.
Whoa, Tombstone first.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's another thing. Taker, he hit him with a terrible choke slam, right?
Well, Goldberg, dead weight, yeah.
Yeah, Goldberg is totally dead weight at this point. He's not jumping for anything.
He's hurt. I get it.
He's 52.
That too.
So Goldberg isn't moving for Taker. Taker goes to chokeslam him. Taker picks him up with all his might. He goes maybe 2 feet off the ground. Boom, chokeslam. It's really ugly. Taker looked exhausted from lifting him.
Yep.
Then picks him up for a tombstone. And, it's a miracle Goldberg doesn't break his neck on that thing, because Taker just kind of spiked him on his head and just nearly crushes his neck entirely.
Thankfully, Taker's bigger, so his knees landed first. But yeah, if he wasn't, that would have been the end of Goldberg.
So Goldberg kicks out of this, and you're like, my goodness, this match isn't over? This should really be over at this point. But it's not. They keep fighting. Goldberg hits another spear and then goes for the jackhammer. And the jackhammer is a move where you're supposed to lift a guy up, vertical suplex, and then drop him down on his back in front of you.
Right.
Goldberg kind of lifted Taker up halfway and then kind of fell and brainbustered Taker, and again nearly broke Taker's neck this time because of exhaustion, because of age, because of the fact that he was bleeding, because of many factors that should be contributing to Vince McMahon not putting them in a wrestling ring. But that didn't happen because they were the main event. So Taker nearly dies in the ring from that brainbuster. He kicked out. Okay, but he hits him with the brainbuster. The ref is like, oh my God, Taker's done. Goldberg kind of lies down next to Taker and talks to him for a while.
Yes.
Seemingly saying, are you okay? Should we just end it here? Taker's like, I don't know. Give me a second. Okay. You want me to cover you? Are you going to kick out? Yeah. Okay. Cover me. 1, 2, kick out. Barely. And it's just like, oh, there was a lot of talking there. Something wasn't going on correctly, right? A lot of checking on Taker. A lot of, sorry, I screwed that up. Sorry, I almost broke your neck.
I imagine. We imagine.
The match continues.
Unfortunately.
And Goldberg, did he try to jackhammer him again?
He tried to give him a tombstone.
Goldberg tried to tombstone Undertaker?
And he dropped him.
And he completely dropped him. Undertaker tries to pick up Goldberg. He drops him as well.
No, he picked him up for the chokeslam, and it was just.
But didn't Taker try to tombstone Goldberg?
No.
Goldberg tried to tombstone Taker.
Taker was smart. He was like, screw it, I'm just gonna chokeslam, and that's it.
So at that point, it's just falling apart. Goldberg tries to pick up Taker. They fall in a heap.
Right.
They just fall. Like, one guy's trying to tombstone the other. It wasn't clear to me who was trying to do what to what, because they both just kind of grabbed each other at the waist and fell down.
I think it was Goldberg trying to do tombstone to do the finisher on him, on Taker, because it's his move, and then Taker would reverse it, win the match that way. But
right, the tombstone to tombstone reversal that even Taker and Roman couldn't do right in their WrestleMania match,
which is probably a good idea not to do ever again.
I've seen guys pull it off. If you watch Kenny Omega and Kazuchika Okada, they pull off that spot brilliantly, back and forth, better than maybe anybody I've ever seen.
Young guys
in their prime. Taker used to pull off that spot with ease with everybody when he was in his prime.
He also had like...
He's 56 or 54, whatever. Doesn't make a difference. He's long done. He should have been retired years ago. So Taker at this point, they fall in a heap. Everything's a mess. Things have gone wrong. Taker grabs him for another chokeslam. Goldberg again moves maybe an inch off the ground, falls down into another heap. Taker pins him. Thankfully, it's over. And they ring the bell, and Taker looks just so mad.
Disgruntled.
So mad that it went so poorly. And he's got to be thinking, damn, last match I had was me and Kane against Hunter and Shawn, and that didn't go so well. And now I'm having this match with Goldberg, and that didn't go so well.
To be fair, Triple H tore his pec, so, I mean, you do the best you can in those situations.
At what point does Taker say, yeah, maybe it's not worth taking all this money? Maybe it's not worth going to Saudi Arabia because these matches are awful and they're making me look bad.
I enjoy watching it. I think they should keep doing it. I think he really should keep doing it. I think it's worth the money. I think he's making a lot, and as long as he didn't break his neck, I think he should keep going.
What? So keep going until you break your neck.
Keep going until you can't go anymore.
This guy's got millions of dollars in the bank. What about quality of life? I don't understand why he's still doing it.
I think he enjoys it, one.
Alimony?
That might be another thing.
He's got a couple ex-wives he's probably still got to pay, right?
A couple of kids, too.
I don't know what he's doing it for. I don't know what Taker has as far as bills, but by God, Undertaker, at some point, you would retire because this match was bowling shoe ugly. You know, it was to steal a phrase from good old JR. This was not good. You know, this was, whew. You enjoyed it, John, because you like to see car crashes. You like to see a mess of a match. And this was one of the biggest messes of a match you've ever seen.
It's up there.
You've not seen a mess of a match since Taker's last match.
Oh, I feel like I've seen messy
Do you
matches.
remember when Taker and Triple H simultaneously Irish whipped each other into the barricade?
Of course. It's a great moment.
Was it as good as Goldberg brainbustering Taker?
This was definitely better, without question. Man, there was blood. I give it up to both these guys. They really worked their butts off for us. I appreciate that beyond belief. Like you say, they're past their prime, but they worked really hard to try to do their best. It didn't turn out too well, but I appreciate the effort.
Sometimes your best isn't good enough.
For me, it was because I was entertained.
You were.
I was very much entertained. I loved it from start to finish.
I mean, I was entertained, but I'm entertained by fight videos on YouTube. You know what I mean?
Right. I get it. This wasn't about good wrestling. This was
like
just
you
about...
showed me a video of some Boston Bruins fans fighting each other.
Right.
Right. It's a hockey game, and there's two fans, and they're fighting each other in the stands. Usually, it's like one guy from one team, one guy from the other, and they're fighting. No, this was two guys in Bruins jerseys fighting each other. I was like, guys, you're on the same team here, but whatever. See, I was mildly entertained by that in the same way that I was entertained by Goldberg and The Undertaker. I wasn't entertained by Goldberg and The Undertaker in the same way that I'm entertained by a, I don't know, Daniel Bryan match or a Bret Hart match or something like that. You know?
Of course, I get it. I understand. It's not the same kind of caliber.
No. And this is dangerous where it's like, wow, I hope Undertaker, a guy I've literally grown up watching because he's been wrestling for that long, I hope he doesn't get seriously injured in this match. I hope he lives through this.
Oh, he will. I worry more about Goldberg. I mean, if this
I'm not so worried about Goldberg.
I feel like this is probably the end for Goldberg, and it's not a great ending for him. At least Taker, he'll live to fight another day.
Please, this is not a great ending for Goldberg. Shawn Michaels came out of retirement after 8 years, and that was his match a few months ago in Saudi Arabia, and it was terrible, just as bad as this. And he's Shawn Michaels, so who cares about Goldberg? Goldberg's legacy is of a terrible wrestler, and this was just another moment in Goldberg's awful legacy.
Well, I think he ended it very well, and to have this is more of like, it's a bit of a black eye. And Shawn added another black eye to his many black eyes in his career.
Oh my God, what are you, Ric Flair?
You know what Shawn's done, the terrible things he's done.
I know what he's done.
We don't need to get into that. But.
And you, a man wearing a Bret Hart tank top right now.
Of course.
You are definitely the man to remind me of all the misdeeds of Shawn Michaels. You will never forget.
Well, Survivor Series alone, but then there's a whole like making fun of Bret and like having the midget come out.
Yeah. A lot of things that Shawn has done.
Remember?
Did you see Ric Flair go at Shawn Michaels? Did you see those videos?
I haven't seen it, but I'm not surprised. Rick's not your friend. He acts like your friend, but turn on you for a dime.
So Ric Flair came out of the hospital. He had some sort of procedure. He's, whatever, and he cuts this promo, and he's got this promo of Shawn Michaels. I'll play it here during the break. We'll get it on. We'll hear the Ric Flair thing here in a minute. But he's talking about Shawn Michaels, and he's saying, like, who are you to judge me, pal? Like, you know what you've done, Shawn Michaels, because Shawn Michaels was on Ric Flair's 30 for 30 and said some things about Flair that Flair didn't like.
Okay.
Something about how, Ric Flair doesn't know Richard Flair. He never got to know himself. And Ric Flair's like, Richard Flair was a nothing. He was a nobody. Ric Flair was the man and this and that. And Shawn Michaels, who are you to sit there in your moral high ground? We all know what you've done, pal. He's like really going at Shawn Michaels. So Flair seems mad at Shawn Michaels right now. There's friction.
I get it. You should be mad.
I get it too. Shawn Michaels has done some bad things. Why we distance Shawn Michaels here on the show, John? Every show we have, you just always want to bring it back to Shawn Michaels.
I didn't want you brought up Shawn. And I'm like, oh boy, I get to bury Shawn. Fantastic.
Well, see, I was complimenting Shawn, saying he's a far greater wrestler than Bill Goldberg, and that, Goldberg, who cares about how he ends his career? I'm more concerned about Shawn Michaels, the great wrestler who came back for that terrible match the last time they went to Saudi Arabia. So, you loved NXT TakeOver last week, John. You gave it an 8 out of 10. I gave it a 7.
Right.
I love Double or Nothing. I gave it a 8, I think.
You did?
And you gave it like a 6?
I did.
Money in the Bank, I think we're about the same. We gave it like a 7.5 on 10, right?
I think I gave it a 6.
Maybe a 7 I gave it. 6 or 7, something like that.
Okay.
It was solid. It was a solid effort. I think I gave it a 7.
Okay.
This show, the Super Showdown from Saudi Arabia, I will be giving on 10 a rating of
Drum roll.
3.
Okay. I figured it'd be that low.
Sucked. Bad pay-per-view. Boo.
I didn't think it was that bad. I'd give it a 5.
5 on 10. That's still not good.
It's not good.
If you were to give the Goldberg Undertaker match a star rating on 5, what would you give it?
3 on 5.
3 on 5.
Yeah. Because it entertained me.
What would you give Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart at WrestleMania?
Ooh, yeah, that's close to a 5, if not a 5.
Yeah, you got to give it a 5. But this is a 3.
Yeah,
I'd give this match like a 1.5 because it was kind of fun to watch, but it wasn't a good wrestling match. You can't say that this was a good wrestling match performance. It was a mess. It was maybe entertaining, but for the wrong reasons. Not for the art of professional wrestling. It was for the mess that is 2 50-plus guys that shouldn't be main eventing a show. Goldberg shouldn't be wrestling anymore, and neither should Undertaker.
We always complain about the lack of blood. We definitely got tons of blood in this match. That helped it a lot, in my opinion. And the fact that Taker, in my opinion, came in great shape. I thought Taker was moving very well in this match. It was just difficult for him because Goldberg looked a little slow, and it was tough for him.
What? What are you talking about? Taker came in great shape
compared to the last time.
Compared to last time,
he looked kind of chubby. The last one. This one, he looked a lot better.
Okay.
You got to take in consideration, too, he hasn't wrestled since November. Goldberg hasn't wrestled in years. I take all these in consideration.
I did not think this was a solid effort from the WWE. This was a mess of a show with a mess of a main event. And more disrespectful stuff went on this show, including Shane McMahon beating Roman Reigns.
The biggest shock, I think.
What?
But we've talked about this, how Shane's kind of unbeatable. He beats everybody.
He's
so
the best in the world.
It makes sense that he would beat Roman. But where is this leading to? Like, what, Shane's going to be WWE champion now? Because I'm starting to believe that.
Well, that's what you wanted. I saw you tweet about it at North Genesis.
Because he's the strongest guy on the roster. If he beat Roman Reigns, you should be WWE champion.
He did have help from Drew McIntyre, so the ref fell. Shane kind of got thrown back, hit the ref. Ref fell. Drew jumps into the ring, hits Roman with his kick. Roman goes down. Shane pins him 1, 2, 3. So Shane got help, but still.
Still, he had a competitive back-and-forth match, and yeah, he got the win because of interference. But
yeah, he
still,
didn't get squashed by Roman at all.
Not at all.
The promoter's 50-year-old son just beat the franchise player at an event that they're calling bigger, if not better, than WrestleMania.
Presentation-wise, I understand that because, wow, it looked amazing.
Too bad they didn't have Becky Lynch or Sami Zayn.
We did find out that Alexa Bliss and Natty were backstage. They just weren't granted clearance to wrestle.
Clearance to wrestle.
But, at least they were allowed there.
What?
In the past, they weren't allowed there.
How
before.
are you defending the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia?
I'm defending WWE in the sense that they're trying to promote change. And I think that progressively it's happening. It's just taking time.
So they brought Natalya and Alexa Bliss to Saudi Arabia in the hopes that they might convince the government to let them wrestle. They were not granted permission to wrestle.
Unfortunately.
I would have packed up my bags and been like, all right, cool, here's your money back. We're going back to the States. See ya.
The fact that
they don't wrestle, we don't wrestle.
But they were able to do promotional work there, though. And that's a huge step, in my opinion. Before, you couldn't even see that before. Baby steps on this one.
Really? Hey, I wonder if women aren't allowed to wrestle. You think Sonya Deville ever gets to wrestle?
Do they really know that stuff?
It's a crime to be homosexual in Saudi Arabia, and Sonya Deville is lesbian.
Okay. But do they know that?
I don't know. Well, I think they would find out. I think, if they did find out, it might be dangerous.
Yeah.
So cool. They brought Alexa and Natty, and Renee could do commentary as long as she was all covered up. But would they be allowed to bring Sonya Deville?
One at a time here. One at a time.
They can't bring Sami Zayn because he's of Syrian descent. They can't bring Aleister Black because he's got apparently Christian religious tattoos. If you have like a cross tattoo somewhere on you, you're a tattooed wrestler, you can't go to Saudi Arabia.
But Randy's okay, though. Randy's tattoos are fine. They're not.
Well, he's just got skulls.
Yeah. So that's it. Just wear the right kind of tattoos. But hey, this is a different country.
How are you defending? Like, it's okay, John, when you're defending Randy Orton or you're defending, Triple H or whatever. But when you're defending this against me, like, you're taking the wrong side here. Like, it's okay. Like,
side.
Yeah, because it's fine. Like, it's fine to go against me part of the show. I get it. Sometimes you troll me. It's what you do. You're always trolling me.
I'm not trolling you about the main event, though.
No, sure. Tell me you love Goldberg and Undertaker all you want. Fine. But don't start defending the practices of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Because it goes beyond wrestling. You know what I mean?
It's getting personal. I understand.
Not personal. Like, it's a political thing. And it's deeper than wrestling, man. It's more than like, oh, well, they should push this guy and they shouldn't push this guy. It's like, no. They should allow women to wrestle. They should not kill you because you're homosexual. They shouldn't kill you because you tweet that there should be peace between Saudi Arabia and Qatar. By the way, there's a guy who tweeted that there should be peace between Saudi Arabia and Qatar, and he's in prison and expected to be beheaded. Will be publicly executed in Saudi Arabia because that's how they do business. That's how this country operates, and that's who the WWE is taking money from to do these awful wrestling shows. So don't take their side. Their side is the wrong side.
I do like the fact they do these kind of shows, though, and I hope they continue to do these kind of shows.
You just like more wrestling shows because you're a wrestling fan, and these are the shows where all the old guys wrestle, and they have a million botches, and it's good for botchamania.
That too.
You just like messes of wrestling matches. Sometimes I wonder if you like good wrestling or you just like when people screw up.
A mixture is fantastic. I mean, that's what you need in wrestling. A little bit of everything.
I like good wrestling. Like, if people screw up once in a while, okay, it's fine, but, like, it takes away from my opinion of you as a professional wrestler if you screw up all the time.
Besides the main event, I don't find there was that many botches, really.
It's weird, too. Like, you'll get on certain wrestlers that you don't like for botching and screwing up all the time, but, when Goldberg does it, it's okay. Double standard, Johnny North.
Well, Goldberg, like, limited kind of sample to work with. And again, I understand he hasn't wrestled in years. You expect botches. We kind of expect botches going into this. So if we didn't get any botches, I would have thought this match wasn't as good.
I will say, as bad as I thought the match was, on this awful show, it was my match of the night.
Wow, really? That's crazy.
It was the hilarious match of the night. Like, Finn and Andrade was probably the real match of the night, but, like, it wasn't extraordinary.
You didn't like Triple H and Randy Orton?
No.
But the atmosphere was fantastic.
It was like 25 minutes. It was really boring. It was really long. They didn't do anything.
The crowd was shouting, "This is awesome."
The crowd was chanting, "This is awesome," doesn't mean that I agree with them. They were really excited about Mansoor. I didn't care. They were dead quiet during Finn Balor and Andrade, and I thought that was the best real wrestling match of the night. I still thought Goldberg and Undertaker was more fun because it was just like, oh my God. It was a car crash. It was a mess. It wasn't the best match of the night, but it was my favorite match of the card because Finn Balor and Andrade was really forgettable. Like, outside of the entrance for the Demon Finn, it was an okay match, but they didn't do anything crazy.
I thought that DDT he gave him off the top, that was fantastic. Amazing. He did this like double stomp where he did it on the outside and then he did it on the inside, but he's like bent over and he like double stomped him on the back of his head. That was fantastic. I just think the crowd just didn't appreciate it because they don't know the characters. And if they don't know the characters, in this case, they don't really care about what you do in the ring, unfortunately. But I thought they really brought it in terms of the effort.
Okay, so I'll give this as the real match of the night. Like, this is the legit match of the night. Goldberg and Taker was just the spectacle of the night. What's your match of the night? Finn and Andrade? I mean, what else really happened?
Again, what are we talking about in terms of, like, the spectacle of it all? Like,
well, your favorite match.
Well, I definitely enjoyed
Goldberg,
the main event.
Taker. Yeah.
But in terms of wrestling, this definitely was the best wrestling match of the night, without question. Finn and Andrade, without question. Yeah.
Two guys that should be wrestling.
I also liked, like, Kofi and Dolph. I thought it was a pretty good match as well. Not amazing, not their best, far from it, but I thought it was still a solid match.
It was about 10 minutes. It wasn't great. Kofi wins, Trouble in Paradise. A little bit of help from Xavier Woods, though. Bit of a distraction.
That's the build towards the rematch.
And that upset Dolph Ziggler. He cut a promo after the match and said, "I want a rematch at Stomping Grounds in a steel cage. And it's official." And we're going to tell you in just a bit what else is official for WWE Stomping Grounds coming up in just 2 weeks' time in Tacoma, Washington. I know one guy who's going to be there that wasn't at Super Showdown, and I'm excited about that. It is Wrestling Uncensored. Stay with us. And we're back. Welcome back. It is Wrestling Uncensored. I'm Dave Simon. He is Johnny North. WrestlingUncensored.net is the website. We're on TSN 690 every Saturday night talking professional wrestling. We are also on YouTube. You could watch the show on our YouTube channel. YouTube.com/RingsideReport.net, YouTube.com/RingsideReport, DOTNET. Go subscribe to the channel, like the video, and click that little bell when you do subscribe so you get the alerts whenever we put up new content. Dave and Johnny live every week, every Friday afternoon around 12:30, 12:45. Johnny North and I go live on YouTube. We talk to you. We talk about professional wrestling. We recap the NXT TakeOver 25 show. I also talked about Dean Ambrose's first match outside of the WWE. Now Jon Moxley, he became the IWGP United States Heavyweight Champion, beating Juice Robinson in Japan. Jon Moxley making his New Japan debut this week at the Best of the Super Juniors finals. And I talked about that on this week's episode of Dave and Johnny Live. We usually cover some pro wrestling stuff that we can't cover here on Wrestling Uncensored. A lot of things happening there outside of the WWE, including some stuff of New Japan, the Best of the Super Juniors. Will Ospreay winning that tournament over Shingo Takagi, a tremendous match. And also, we talked about this Sunday in Japan, Dominion, the IWGP Heavyweight Champion Kazuchika Okada defending against Chris Jericho. The main event in Japan for Dominion. We also have Tetsuya Naito taking on Kota Ibushi for the Intercontinental title. Dean Ambrose, a.k.a. Jon Moxley, will be opening the card against the young lion Shota Umino. And we also have Will Ospreay challenging Dragon Lee for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title. So for more on that, check out Dave and Johnny Live exclusively on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/ringsidereport.net. So much action. And if you want a recap of all that New Japan stuff, there will be a new episode of What's Phantom in Japan. Myself and the Green Phantom, Montreal wrestling legend Green Phantom, we recap New Japan every month. We have a monthly Japanese wrestling podcast, and it drops on the second Thursday of every month. So we have entered the month of June, and the second Thursday of June is coming up this week, the 13th of June. So do be on the lookout at WrestlingUncensored.net, RingsideReport.net for the latest episode of What's Phantom in Japan, where we will recap Dominion. Now that's going to be a pay-per-view, brother. Forget Super Showdown. Forget Stomping Grounds. Watch Dominion. Chris Jericho wrestling for a heavyweight title. That's the kind of show I can get behind.
You do know about the Green Phantom petition, right? That he put out?
Yeah, to get to AEW.
It's quite fantastic. The fans actually started that for him.
Yeah, well, people want to see more of the Green Phantom. He's a fantastic wrestler. Where's the Wrestling Uncensored universe starting a petition for Johnny North?
Oh, Green Phantom and AEW makes sense. I like it.
I think Johnny North and NXT makes sense.
Yeah, that's good too.
That seems about right to me. Johnny North, Super Showdown in the books, and we are now on the road to Stomping Grounds. Right? Stomping Grounds is about to happen, and we have many matches that have been made official, including Dolph Ziggler versus Kofi Kingston inside a steel cage, Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre, Alexa Bliss versus Bayley for the SmackDown title, even though Alexa Bliss is on Raw. We'll get to that in a minute. Becky Lynch defending the Raw title against Lacey Evans. Seth Rollins defending the Universal title against Baron Corbin again for some reason. Now, this needs to be explained to me, Johnny North. I don't really understand why. I guess because of the referee. So Baron Corbin has a match with Seth Rollins for the Universal title with Super Showdown. Baron Corbin, what is he? He's got Seth in the corner. He's doing something illegal to Seth Rollins, right?
I think he was just hitting
Oh, no,
Seth.
he had a chair.
Right.
He had a chair, and he wanted to bring the chair into the ring to hit Seth with.
Mm-hmm.
And the referee was like, no, Baron Corbin, don't do this. You can't win the title. I'll disqualify you if you hit him with a chair. And he took the chair and he tossed it out of the ring. Baron Corbin got really mad, and he got into the referee's face. He's like, referee, don't tell me how to do my job. Stay out of my way. And then he pushed the referee a bit, right?
No, he just got in his face.
He just got in his face.
And then the ref was like, hey, listen to me.
And then the ref's like, hey, listen to me. I'm the referee. You don't tell me what to do. So they get into like an argument. Seth Rollins rolls up Baron Corbin. 1, 2, 3. The match ends. So I guess Corbin has a beef, like the referee got involved in the match, and that's why he lost.
Exactly.
Baron Corbin then takes the steel chair, hits Seth Rollins with it, hits his end of days, leaves Seth laying, and here comes Brock Lesnar.
For the cash-in.
For the cash-in. To cash in Money in the Bank. Brock gets distracted by Paul Heyman for a half second. Seth hits him with a low blow. He takes a chair and he starts beating Brock with the chair. And then he does the curb stomp on Brock onto the Money in the Bank briefcase.
So no cash in.
Seth walks away, no Money in the Bank cash in. So this is 2 straight shows where we've been promised a Brock Lesnar cash in. This past Monday on Raw, Brock Lesnar, the WWE, everybody said the cash in is happening on Raw.
Right.
It didn't happen. Why didn't it happen again?
Because he said Friday.
That's it. He just decided.
Yep.
So they bait and switch us for Raw. And then they say, okay, Super Showdown, Saudi Arabia, watch the show. There's going to be a cash-in. No cash-in. Seth attacks Brock, leaves him laying. Bait and switch us again. And I said it before, like when we were previewing Super Showdown, before, I think on Dave and Johnny Live, I said, like, okay, well, they promised us a cash-in on Raw. Now when they promise us a Brock cash-in, they've been teasing it for so long, I'm not really expecting it to happen. So they said it was going to happen at Super Showdown, and I wasn't surprised when it didn't happen.
Well, I think they just realized this kind of got over the whole Brock party. Brock having the briefcase.
I'm done with it, though.
Well, I think they're not done with it, and I think they want to make the most out of it. That's why we saw the merch, and I think they're going to keep going with this angle as long as they possibly can, and they can. They have like a year, so I don't think we're going to see Brock, at least for a while. He's just going to take time off because we don't usually see Brock on Raw and SmackDown every week. Probably won't see him until around SummerSlam time.
Yeah.
And he'll just, out of nowhere, do the cash-in.
So all this Brock was just to build for Super Showdown.
Right.
Because Brock was scheduled to appear, and this is what he did. This is all he did.
Great payday.
Brock has the easiest schedule in the history of wrestling. He makes more money than anybody. He shows up barely. When he does show up, most of the time he just stands in the ring while Paul Heyman does the talking for him. Sometimes he dances around. He won Money in the Bank without actually being in the match. He hits Seth Rollins with a chair all the time. Like, he's got the easiest job in the world.
He also makes the most money out of anyone on the roster.
Yeah. He's booked the strongest, he makes the most, and he works the least. Something is wrong with this picture.
I get why he didn't want to go back to UFC because that would require a lot of work. So.
Yeah, and he'd probably get beat up.
So, yeah, it wasn't worth the money, I think, compared to this easy money. Man, take the easy money.
Easy money. So Brock continues to take easy money, and we're stuck with him, and we'll probably have to see him again in August, right? Probably take some time off now, you figure?
Maybe we'll see him at Extreme Rules or something, like the pay-per-view before SummerSlam. Maybe he'll do the cash in there.
Hopefully. In the meantime, Seth Rollins and Baron Corbin again for Stomping Grounds.
It'll be what it is. It'll just be what they had, pretty much what we saw at Super Showdown. It's not a great match, but it's something to get through. Because
it's not even a good match. What do you mean it's not a great match? It's not good. It's not even passable. It's awful.
You have to get through it because Baron Corbin did work his way up to this main event spot, did retire Kurt Angle. It just makes sense. He's got to slay Baron Corbin.
What are they doing? What are they doing here? What is this product that we're watching? Baron Corbin and Seth Rollins. Like, what is this pay-per-view they're putting together? Kofi Kingston, Dolph Ziggler in a steel cage. Becky Lynch and Lacey Evans again for no reason. Becky just beat her at Money in the Bank. Why is this happening?
Well, they continue to have promos against each other, and there's no other opponents when you think about it for Becky besides maybe Charlotte. And I think I'd rather see Lacey because I don't want to see Becky and Charlotte for like the 20th time in a row.
Yeah, it's a good point. They couldn't have done Nikki Cross?
Not yet. I don't think so.
Why not?
Because you're just slowly building her up. Like she's just beating like Peyton Royce on Raw. That's all she did.
It's more than Lacey Evans.
Lacey, at least she's fighting people like Charlotte. She's getting involved with like Alexa Bliss. She's in that kind of role in a sense where she's at least talking with the main eventers. She's interacting with them. Nikki's just kind of there in the background. And what's her character, Nikki? Like, is she crazy? Because backstage, she's normal.
Yeah.
What's up with that? Like,
I don't know. It's not consistent. It's a writing issue. It's not her. It's how they present her. Makes no sense.
It's hard to get her over when her character doesn't make sense.
It's not consistent. It's not a consistent character at all. I agree. But Lacey Evans and Becky Lynch again, like this is all rerun matches. This is all matches we've seen very recently. Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre. Roman beat him clean at WrestleMania. Why are we seeing this match again? Becky Lynch and Lacey Evans. Becky beat her clean at Money in the Bank. Why are we seeing this again? Seth Rollins and Baron Corbin. Seth just beat him at Super Showdown. I don't need to see this again. Kofi Kingston, Dolph Ziggler. Kofi Kingston just beat Dolph Ziggler at Super Showdown. I don't need to see it again. And Bayley and Alexa Bliss doesn't really make sense, and we have seen it many times before.
Well, Bliss did win a number one contenders match, so I get why we're getting that match.
She won a number one contenders match on SmackDown because the wild card rule means anyone can show up anywhere, and what's the point of the brand splits anyways? So Alexa Bliss beats Charlotte Flair and Carmella. Charlotte got super kicked by Carmella. Mandy and Sonya were ringside for some reason.
Interfered.
And they pulled Carmella's leg to distract her enough for Alexa to hit her DDT for the pinfall and the win. Why are Mandy and Sonya helping Alexa?
Because they're feuding with Carmella.
Why?
Because I guess there's heat for some unknown reason.
Because they want the 24/7 title from Truth?
No, I think it goes back to the fact that she had like a magazine cover, and I think Carmella made a diss, and then Mandy made a diss about like Corey Graves looking at it and like take notes, Carmella.
Oh, did she say Corey Graves?
Well, it was a tweet that she put out.
Oh, it was a tweet.
Yeah.
So I'm supposed to pay attention to Mandy and Carmella tweeting to each other to understand why there's interference in this match on SmackDown?
Exactly.
No. I'm not following everybody's Twitter wars in the WWE too, okay? I'm just not. Ugh.
Well, then you don't know the feud then.
Whatever. I don't need to know the feud because no one cares about the feud. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. What are Mandy and Carmella really going to do? Maybe have a pre-show match at Stomping Grounds? Who cares?
I'd rather see Carmella get a tag partner and wrestle against Mandy and DeVille.
You know what should happen at Stomping Grounds? Daniel Bryan and Rowan should become the undisputed WWE Tag Team Champions. It is time to unify these titles. You want to make this a pay-per-view worth watching? Daniel Bryan in his home state of Washington. How many pay-per-views do you really do in Seattle or Tacoma? This is the time to do something. Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins are nowhere. They're the Raw Tag Team Champions for no reason. You never see the tag team titles defended. Neither tag team titles were defended at Super Showdown. Titles are barely defended ever. Like Daniel Bryan says, the tag team division is a joke. You really want to do something with the tag team titles now because Daniel Bryan has them and he's an important character. He can make the tag team division relevant again. This is the time to unify the titles, make Bryan and Rowan the SmackDown and Raw tag team champions, and why not? With the wild card rule, they can defend against Raw or SmackDown teams at any time. One tag team division, one set of champions, and really, if it's going to be either Hawkins and Ryder or Bryan and Rowan, I'd go with Daniel Bryan and Rowan.
I get that. I just feel it's too soon. I feel like it's heavy machinery against Rowan and Daniel Bryan first because they've already started that feud. You saw a little bit of Super Showdown as well. I feel like we're going to get that for the pay-per-view. It's their first big title defense, right? So I think that's what you're getting for Daniel Bryan's hometown. Maybe have the undisputed tag team title match at SummerSlam.
I think we're just wasting time. Let's get it over with because as it stands, these titles aren't getting defended at all. What are the odds that the SmackDown and Raw and women's tag team titles are all defended at Stomping Grounds?
I would bet against that happening.
So why have the titles?
They should get
the Raw tag titles are never defended.
Right.
The women's tag titles are literally never defended.
But I feel it's going to be the Viking Raiders that are going to be Raw tag team champions. They're just waiting to pull the trigger on that. I don't know why, but I feel like they're going to be the tag team champions.
Too many tag teams.
There's a lot of tag teams. Not bad.
Too many tag teams. Too many titles. They need to do something. these tag teams aren't ready. The Viking Raiders, Heavy Machinery, Authors of Pain, none of them are established enough. They're not established like Daniel Bryan is established. It's time for him to take the tag team titles and actually do something with them.
Well, I'd like to see some actual tag team title defenses first. We haven't seen that yet from Rowan and Daniel Bryan. There's been a lot of talk, but no actual matches besides the match with the Usos that they lost. So I think
the non-title match that they lost.
So they should actually defend successfully their tag team titles before they go and try to unify titles, I think.
And that was at Money in the Bank, right? And the explanation as to why that was a non-title match was because the Usos were on Raw.
Right.
And they couldn't challenge for the SmackDown tag titles.
Right.
But that was before the wild card.
No.
Post wild card?
But Bliss won a number one contenders match, so that's why. They didn't win a number one contenders match, so they didn't qualify because of that.
Okay. I'll accept that. I won't accept you defending the KSA, but I'll accept you defending this WWE nonsense, John. Fine. Can you explain Aleister Black and his weirdo promos?
I guess he's a heel. I don't know.
What is that? They keep happening.
He's going to, I think, challenge somebody eventually, but they don't know who.
You know who he should challenge? Bray Wyatt. They're both doing weirdo backstage promos. They're both weirdos. Have them wrestle each other, you little weirdos.
I actually like the Bray Wyatt.
And then they should wrestle Ronnie, the little weirdo.
Right. I like the Bray Wyatt.
Ronnie, you little weirdo.
You didn't like the Bray Wyatt Firefly Funhouse this week?
Where he was dancing?
Yeah, he was doing the exercise thing, yeah.
No, I didn't like that. You like that?
I like the evil Vince puppet. I like that.
You did?
Yeah.
Did you like Huskus?
Yep. He's kind of making fun of himself, how he was fat. I'm sure like Vince used to make fun of him for being fat, or someone told him that, and like he used Vince, I guess, as the puppet.
I'm gonna get you your birthday's coming up, isn't it?
In July, yeah.
In July.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get you a Wyatt Jim t-shirt for your birthday.
Oof. Give me a KO jersey or something. That'd be
no,
better.
Wyatt Jim. You're such a fan of the Firefly Funhouse.
It was like the first one I like.
I want you to rep the Wyatt Jim. You know they put out t-shirts, right? Like he was wearing in the exercise part of the Firefly Funhouse?
That's unnecessary.
No, I'll get that for you, John. Don't worry. I know that's what you want. Got you a Goldberg t-shirt.
Goldberg jersey would be fantastic, yeah.
You just want more Goldberg merch? Is what you're saying?
Goldberg tank? Fantastic.
Or another one of these cool jerseys like you're rocking right now, the Bret Hart jersey?
Yeah, Bret Hart thing would be great.
Don't you have like 2 of these Bret Hart jerseys?
I did from some guy who's cool. I like the guy who gave them to me.
Oh, yeah. Good guy. Good guy. You like Lance Armstrong? How about Matthew McConaughey?
I like Matthew McConaughey. He's a good actor.
Yeah, they were on Raw this week.
Well, they're just in the front row, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, they weren't actually in a segment.
Miz and Seth Rollins seemed really excited about it. It was pretty lame.
Miz just gets excited, period, for everything, so it doesn't matter.
Can we talk about Charlotte Flair and Lacey Evans on Raw?
It was one of the worst matches I've seen this year.
It was bizarre. It felt like they were fighting for real. It felt like they were shooting on each other. It didn't seem like either one was cooperating with the other. It seemed like an uncooperative match that was miscommunicated, that got a little bit aggressive at times. It didn't look like they hit any real wrestling moves, like pro wrestling spots. It almost felt like a real fight to me, but like a bad fight. It was bizarre.
No, it's like 2 kids rolling around the playground. Like, it looked bad. It looked terrible. It's not good fighting, actually. It just looks lame. And it wasn't good whatsoever. And in my opinion, I put the blame on Charlotte. She's the veteran, and she's the heel in the match. She should carry it. And clearly there's an issue between the two of them because they couldn't work together for whatever reason.
I feel like this isn't the first time Charlotte has had a match like this.
No, it's not, unfortunately. I feel like with Carmella, it happened in the early days. I feel like even with Alexa, maybe it happened.
I think maybe her and Paige had a match that was like this.
There was some awkwardness with Paige, but I don't know if that was intentional. I think it was just because she was kind of new. I think
there was heat. It was Del Rio heat.
That too. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know, but that Charlotte Lacey Evans match was super weird, and I'd love to interview Charlotte or Lacey about it. I'd love to get their comments on that match to see what really happened, because it was bizarre.
I mean, we can speculate. I mean, Charlotte could look at it in the sense that it's like, well, this is the new one trying to replace me kind of thing. And maybe she took a lot of the promos to heart. So that could be it. When you have 2 egos that are really big and they don't coexist, You're going to get things that look ugly like that.
Yeah, it seemed like an ego problem. It seemed like they couldn't agree on what they were planning to do for the match, and then it just ends when Becky Lynch gets involved.
Best thing is just to keep them away from each other.
And Becky's hitting a rock bottom now? What's the deal?
It's the manhandle slam.
The manhandle slam. It's a rock bottom.
Right.
What's that about? Is that new?
I guess they felt she needed a better finisher because she didn't really have a finisher, right? She had just the disarmer.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
you can't have just a submission finish. You need a pinfall finish if you're going to be a top star.
Exactly.
If you're going to be the man, you need like a finish you can hit and then pin somebody off of, right? Makes sense.
And apparently she was doing the stunner, but it wasn't catching on. And now because Kevin Owens does a stunner, makes sense just do the rock bottom. Rock was good too.
I like Kevin Owens using the stunner. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn losing a inconsequential match to Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston this week on SmackDown. I wonder if that's a little bit of punishment for not going to Saudi Arabia. Well, they can't punish Sami, right? It's not his fault. The Saudi Arabian government won't let him go because he's of Syrian descent. Kevin Owens, I think it was his choice not to go.
I don't think the loss is punishment. I think you just put over the guys that you're going to see at Super Showdown. Kofi being the WWE champion shouldn't lose that much, period.
Yeah, but why do they have to be Kevin and Sami? Like, man, Kevin and Sami, they're barely being used.
No, they're being used. It's just they weren't being featured. That's the problem because they weren't on the pay-per-view. But going forward, they can be featured again. So hopefully they're going to be back in the pay-per-view. Hopefully it doesn't take Kevin long to get back into the main event picture.
I would much prefer Kofi Kingston, Dolph Ziggler in a steel cage if it were a triple threat with Kevin Owens in there too.
Throw in Sami as well. Why not?
I don't know. It's a little much. It's like not fair for Kofi.
That's okay. I have no problem with that. I can see Kofi still winning that anyways.
I'd do Sami versus like Woods 1-on-1 or something.
That I'd be surprised that they even made pre-show, unfortunately.
It'd be fun.
It'd be fun. It wouldn't even make pre-show, but okay. That's an episode of Raw or SmackDown, but okay.
All right, whatever. Let's put it on Raw or SmackDown. Doesn't matter. Wild card rule, brother. Wild card rule. Yeah. Just another strange week in the WWE. And R-Truth is now a five-time 24/7 champion. Five-time.
Yeah.
So he won and lost it twice this week alone, right?
To Elias.
He lost to Elias on SmackDown and then regained it under the ring, beating Elias on SmackDown. And then he lost it to Jinder on the tarmac and then beat Jinder on an airplane to regain the 24/7 championship. So Truth is now a five-time 24/7 champion.
Because he lost twice to Jinder and twice to Elias.
Right.
And he won it the first time, so.
Five-time champion.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations, R-Truth. It won't be long until you're a 30-time 24/7 champion.
Could break the record. I think the hardcore title was won at least 17, probably more times.
Really? Who holds the record?
I want to say it's probably like Crash Holly or maybe Tommy Dreamer.
That would make sense. Hardcore title. Who was the last hardcore champion?
It was Tommy Dreamer.
It was Thomas the Dreamer.
Yeah.
Interesting. Johnny North, when's your next match? When can people see you in the ring?
It's going to be July 6th at Parc Jean Drapeau. Bell time, I believe, is going to be 6 p.m. It's going to be a Mexican festival.
Wow, that's major. July 6th at Parc Jean Drapeau.
Yep.
At a Mexican festival.
The Mexican World Festival, apparently.
The Mexican World? Isn't it just the World Festival?
But this is the Mexican one.
The Mexican World Festival.
Yeah.
Well, July 6th, Parc Jean Drapeau. Go see Johnny North wrestle. Are you going to be Johnny North or El Norte under the mask?
Yeah, I think it'll be a mask something, yeah.
What's your name when you're under the mask?
I believe it's Le Comptable. Yeah, it's Le Comptable.
Le Comptable?
Yeah.
It's not El Contable because you're with the Latinos.
You would think, right? But it's not.
So you have a French name, even though you're with two Spanish guys whose gimmick is they're Los Latinos. It's Los Latinos or the Latinos?
The Latinos, yeah.
The Latinos. Yeah. Not Los Latinos,
no.
which would make sense too. So the Latinos, an English name for a Spanish team with a French bodyguard under a mask who's Anglophone. Johnny North.
Only in Quebec, my
Le
friend.
Comptable, El Contable, Los Ingobernables de Quebec.
Yeah, Quebec all the way.
There you go. Follow him on Instagram. Follow him on Twitter. Follow him on Twitter at North Genesis. Follow him on Instagram at Genesis Johnny North. You could follow me on Twitter, Instagram, all the things at Dave Simon MMA. WrestlingUncensored.net is our website. We're on TSN 690 every Saturday night talking professional wrestling. And we're on YouTube. Go to the YouTube channel. Subscribe to the channel. Like the video. Comment on the video. And click that little bell so you get the alerts whenever there's new content up on the channel. For more on that, go to ringsidereport.net or wrestlinguncensored.net. You can watch Wrestling Uncensored now as well as listen to the show. I know it's been a podcast, a radio show for 400-something episodes, but about 5 or 6 episodes ago, we decided, hey, wait a second. This could be a video show too. And it is on the YouTube channel exclusively. Big thanks to Jimmy and Marco for helping us out, and a big thanks to you for listening and watching. For Johnny North, I'm Dave Simon, and this has been Wrestling Uncensored. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.